Good morning again. So uh, in general, and especially um, in Buddhist practice, uh, the correct motivation or the beneficial motivation, before we engage into any form of activities is one of the most important. uh, in Buddhist teaching, I understand that everything, every existence is byproduct of your mind. Uh, Whether it's absolute reality or conventional realities, uh, including self and others, uh, good and bad, or good karma or negative karma. Everything is byproduct of our mind. Mm, uh, in particularly, there are many events, actions that perform through our body, speech, and mind can be redirected on the basis of your motivation, your intention. Uh, mm, Such as our sleep, such as uh, like the design kind of events, like this very session, this very Dharma discourse. If you infuse the action or influence the action with altruistic motivation, a great compassionate motivation, which simply meaning that I'm going to engage in this session. I'm going to spend every single moment, throughout this time of discourse uh, for the well-being of numberless sentient beings. Start from start from that one being, which is yourself. Then your family members. Then rest of the humanity, rest of the animals, rest of the sentient beings, for their well-being. In the concern of their well-being, then you conduct or be in the discourse. Entire your discourse become conducive condition, beneficial causes for the happiness, for the well-being of the rest of the numberless sentient beings. Mhm. Like before we go to bed, uh, uh, if we go to bed, did I spell correct? What's it? Pronounce correctly? Bed, bed. Okay, not a bad bed. So if we go to bed uh, with sense of dedicating, the night, dedicating the sleeping period uh, for the for the cause and conditions of peaceful world, for the cause of peace and happiness of uh, the rest of the sentient being. Again, like you start from one sentient being, which is yourself. You really want to be in the peace, uh, at least coming 6-7 hours, you know, or maybe 10 hours of sleep. uh, so if you're able to sleep with that motivation, then sleep 24 hours also so meaningful. uh, so you see, so sleep, you know, uh, for the benefit of living beings, peace and happiness. So you see, so if you, so peace uh, uh, with your uh, body and the mind and the feelings. You see, so uh, so even sleep as comfortable as possible, then sleep uh, free of negative emotion. So that is what it meant. Uh, uh, Making peace or contributing peace uh, to the sentient beings, to the living beings starting from yourself, and also contribute peaceful environment. So sleep without anger, without depression, a depressed mind, without uh, you know attachment graspings, uh, without unhappy mind. So completely uh, harmonize uh, your state of mind from all the disturbing emotions. uh, so and full of you know heart of gratitude, heart of sense of fulfillment, sense of genuine sense of loving heart, kind heart, compassionate heart. Then of course those who practice um, uh, tantra, deity yoga, the Buddhist tantra, then you know unbelievable practices that you can utilize, like creating your bed as a mandala, like a sun disk, moon disk, or then yourself as a very much like illusory body, not caught up with this, inconvenient sense of physical, especially if we reach to like experiencing old age inconvenience to the body, or due to sickness, or inconvenient to our mind due to being, a worldly samsaric person. So all this can be uh, overcome through meditation. So you very much uh, like a Dharmakaya, a wisdom being, and resting on a very comfortable cushion, like a sun and moon disk. When you think of sun disk is like very warm. I think very good in Santa Fe during this chilly weather. You feel very warm, but not too hot. Then you have this moon disk, like very soothing, cooling. uh, then and that comfortable being and environment, you try to, dissolve into a sleeping state. And without any doubt, you will also enjoy very, very beautiful dreams, very, very wonderful dreams. Then when you wake up in the morning, without any doubt, you get well rested and full of energy, full of possibilities. Uh, yes, and all this can be done with your motivation. Just so like that. So this is not my subject to talk about. I have a lot to cover. Also, I almost get distracted into dream. So yes, so this is about motivation. Uh, so, mm, mm. So if you want to be happy today, huge reliance on the motivation. You see, if we just remain neutral state of the motivational mind, day would be very much like kind of bland. It's not so joyous, not so meaningful, and also not so kind of like miserable. But we have the potential to enjoy uh, great peace, great joy, uh, great sustainable happiness. We have that potential, and normally our normal way is we look for those sustainable happiness and very joyful moments uh, through material conditions or the conditions in immediate in that present level. Kind of like I want to be happy now, so then try to kind of uh, find reasons to be happy. So that is not so sustainable, especially if you rely towards material object. Say, I want to be happy, so I want to go to shopping. You know, so it's nice for a moment, but it is not lasting. It's very much it may pass it to a suffering. We call suffering of change. Moment of joy, moment of happiness, then it will lead to a oh no, all my bank balance was thrown in the shop. Then you won't have a good sleep that night. You see, so then yeah, so the motivation. If you depend on motivation, then if you carry a motivation to be happy whole throughout the day, you're able to sustain happiness all throughout the day. If you set motivation to be happy whole throughout the week, you may able to sustain whole throughout the week through simply through the inner conditioning, dependent on your inner pre-existing potential, uh, the mind itself, in the form of motivation. And the motivation here talking about, I want to be happy all throughout the day because I want to live my heart filled with love. So as long as you try to, you know, live up to the motivation through your mindfulness throughout the day, you know, whatever you do, wherever you go, whatever experience comes in your way, you want to like uphold up to the motivation through your mindfulness. Then meaning that you will still your central focus is cultivation of love. And as long as you remain in that focus, you're very much upholding what you're motivated, and that directly condition or cause for us to stay, in happiness. So it requires a bit of exercise, bit of repeated uh, uh, reminder to make, strong imprint into our system. That until that, the moment, you switch, um, or the moment you design your day or your night, in this direction, and immediately just like take off to experience that. You see, so not just like I want to be happy. So that alone is not good enough. Uh, you know, the motivation, to set a correct and beneficial motivation. So you see, like bodhicitta motivation or great compassionate motivation, unconditional, the motivation uh, expressing unconditional love. So these are the way like that. So uh, so so that way, not only able to live happily in the present time. When the day is over, when like this session is over, you feel, uh, you know, uh, you feel your time has been meaningful. You feel fulfilled. Uh, you feel grateful, fulfillment, satisfaction, gratefulness is the immediate direct cause for your happiness. Immediate, right after that moment is a happiness. Whenever you feel grateful, next very moment, you start to experience joy. If you are grateful intensely, intense joy. If you're grateful little bit joy. So it's up to you. You want to experience intense one, then you express intense gratefulness. Uh, you know, so then and then this act, the action that led by these correct motivations, beneficial motivations, not only deliver benefit in the present time, but it will accumulate abundance of causes for future happiness. And especially bodhicitta, great compassion, altruistic motivation, the benefit lasts until entire numberless sentient beings, uh, you know, uh, entire numberless sentient beings actualize the ultimate happiness, where there's no more suffering, where there's no more cause and condition of suffering exist. And it is so uh, powerful in its magnitude, reach out, that it reach out the benefit to entire numberless sentient beings. You see, so like that. So this is our motivation. So then I will go through the text. So we are talking about emptiness, and I've been using the Lama Atisha's, the great Indian Pandit Lama Atisha's text, Lamb on the Path, which is the root text for all the, the teaching that exists, the teaching that preserve or introduced even to the West, through Tibetan Buddhist tradition. Mm. Mm. So this one, this verse, verse 48 from the root text, emphasizing the definition of emptiness. Mm. Uh, so you see, if there's any, some of you are new to this, this knowledge on emptiness. Emptiness. What is emptiness? Emptiness is the ultimate nature of existence. Called emptiness. Ultimate nature of your existence is emptiness. Ultimate nature of your body is emptiness. Ultimate nature of your name is emptiness. Ultimate nature of rest of the phenomena is emptiness. Ultimate nature of you and me is emptiness. So emptiness is referring to that, the ultimate nature. Emptiness is also can understand the legitimate, uh, legitimate existence, or the um, mm, the relative truth, the existence of your relative truth. I don't know whether my English makes sense or not. It doesn't make sense to me. I didn't understand what I just said. uh, so, so in other words, it's the, the the relative truth of yourself, or the conventional reality, the conventional truth. There are two truths: ultimate truth, relative truth. So uh, the what is the relative truth is the legitimate existent. Uh, yeah. So again here, I don't know whether this word I use correctly or not, to the what I'm thinking. So so basically the factual existence, the real way of existing. So can say legitimately existing, something like that. Officially existing. Officially certified existent. So so the certified officially relatively existing, uh, it is synonymous to emptiness. So that also emptiness. So basically, all truthful nature of any existence, whether it's ultimate truth or relative truth, that is called emptiness. That is called emptiness. So emptiness, uh, in Tibetan word called Tongba Nyi. You see, Tongba. So that's like two words there. Tongba means empty. Nyi is like, I would understand as existent, have, or being. So in relation to that, then I would translate the English word emptiness. The empty is one thing. Nest, I would understand existent. So empty, here referring to empty of inherent existence, empty of dualistic existence, empty of true existence, or empty of not truthfully existent, not legitimately existent, empty of falsely existent. And uh, that proof that all the existence has its own legitimate existence, has its own truthful existence, has its own uh, quality existence, right way of existence, and that is called the interdependent existence or interdependent arising. And the meaning of that interdependent arising is called emptiness. So by overcoming the falsely existent, uh, gives the clear establishment of truthful existence, which is ni, which is nest, So that will make up as emptiness. So that's it, like that. So I think here the master says something existent cannot be produced. Mhm. No, something non-existent is like a sky flower. These errors are both absurd, and thus both of the others too will not occur either. So, mm, yes. Mm, so here, something exists cannot be produced. So something that exists inherently or substantially, then it will not carry, the legitimate production or legitimate existence. No, something non-existent. Uh, if there's no legitimately, established potential, uh, then it will be like a sky flower. That if there's no uh, a truthful cause, then there won't be a production of result. You know, so you like a sky flower. So this both this error both absurd. Thus, both of the others too will not occur. So here there are four different points. I like such as any existence like self or rest of the phenomena, you know, uh, do not exist uh, by itself, do not exist by others' cause, do not exist by none of other, or 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 do not exist by both. So the first line, the meaning, something existing cannot be produced, uh, hmm, can understand like this. If something existed at the time of its causes, it would already be in existence and there would be no need for it to be produced again. Mm. Why would it need cause? If it could be produced again, there would be endless repeated production. So this one mainly uh, rejecting the assertion uh, uh, on, on the view of emptiness by Chittamatra, the mind-only school. On our last class, I did went through the brief, the presentations of the four Buddhist schools, the assertion on selflessness or emptiness. The Chittamatra Chittamatra um, established that they do not assert dualistic existence. They do not assert, they don't believe or accept uh, external production. Uh, uh, the but then they assert that all existence are byproduct of your mind, the mental imprint. That's why I call mind-only school. But the problem is that the mind that produce the existence, it is in the nature of true existence. If it is not in the nature of true existence, it will not have the potential to produce result. So, so the asserting true existence become the false. You see, so here is talking about if something exists at the time of cause. So you see, for Chittamatran, all existence already exists in its potential at the time of cause. Means It's very much like at the beginning in the motivation. I say everything is production of your mind. The language that I'm using is in fact very similar to the Chitta Madhyamaka would use. You see, uh, but I can say I'm not saying exactly the way how Chitta Madhyamaka are saying. The reason is I do not assert true existence in the existence of my mind. That's different from Chitta Madhyamaka way of thinking and my way of thinking or the others' way of thinking. You see, like such as Prasangika Madhyamaka way of thinking. So the problem here, if you assert true existence, the producer, the mind, then it already be existing, and there will be no need for it is to be produced again. So let's say the external forms, the Chitta Matra would understand that it's already pre-existing, it is potential in its mental continuum. So ripening of that imprint bring about existence of external form. And if the potential is already existing at the time of the cause, then there's no point, there's no reason the need to repeat it is existing again as a result. And if you still accept that there is a meaning bringing production as a result, then the result will be endless, and that will be your flaw. So anyway, not to worry about this. Uh, so just roughly. Mm. So anyway, if you are referring to the text, then if you look at the verse 48, the first line is like directly, like opening to the Chitta Madhyamaka view. Then um, the later the two line, this error as both obscured, and thus both of the others two will not occur either. So that meaning, an inherently existing, which did not exist at the time of its cause, would forever remain non-existent and could, like a sky flower, never be produced, no matter how many causes and conditions were assembled for that purposes. Because being inherently existent, therefore independent, such factor would not affect it. Mhm. So, such like how the Chitta Madhyamaka would assert the producer, the mind, exists through existence, then from the point of view of the Prasangika Madhyamaka, you understand that Chitta Madhyamaka would accept inherent existence or substantial existence. So if the cause, it is nature substantially existent, then there's no way, it has the potential to produce. It is a result. Uh, it is a legitimate result because of the false of true existence. So in reality, there's no no factual proof there is inherently existent or true existent phenomena or substance, you know, uh, either in both in the stage of cause or in the stage of its result, like that. Mm. So just to make it more sensible, what the Atisha trying to say here in this verse, the Shakyamuni Buddha, that he said this line in the sutra, the cautions of the Naga king. It says, whatever is produced from condition is not produced. So whatever is produced from condition means whatever is produced interdependently. It is not produced, means it's not produced by a nature that it has substantial existence, the cause that is in the nature of uh, inherent existence or substantial existence or true existence. It is not intrinsically produced. So whatever is produced from condition is not produced, meaning that it is not produced intrinsically. So like the word say, it is not intrinsically produced. Uh, if there's a legitimate existence of cause and effect, then we have to understand and assert it is not intrinsically produced. There's no intrinsic nature both in cause and effect. If the if the if there's no intrinsic nature in the cause, and the cause itself has to be in the nature of interdependent arising, meaning the cause has to be in the nature of emptiness. So if the cause is in the nature of emptiness or interdependent arising, then it has to be free of being intrinsically existent, has to be free of being substantially existent, has to be free from being true existent. And that similar apply to its result also. So whatever depend upon condition means whatever depend on cause. Uh, uh, like the fruit, depend on its cause. The seed. So if it is something that produced from the seed, then the seed, both the seed and its fruit, does not contain any substantial existence, does not has any potential of true existence in it. Because the reason, because it is production of its cause and condition. So as long as it's produced by cause and condition, that itself has to be proven to our understanding. That phenomena carries nature of lacking intrinsic existence, lacking true existence, and that is the way how we establish, uh, uh, the producer and the product both lies in the nature of emptiness. Both lies in the nature of emptiness in its relative truth as well as in its ultimate truth. The relative truth is interdependent arising. The result existing dependent on the cause, the seed. That's why the fruit, the product is in the nature of relative truth, which is in the nature of interdependent arising, which is emptiness. Because of it is relative truth lies in the nature of interdependent arising, that itself is the proof it is ultimate nature is emptiness. Means it is ultimate nature carry the value of being void of intrinsic nature, being void of uh, true existence or inherent existence or substantial existence. Mm. So whatever dependent upon condition, I consider. So Buddha says he consider as empty, empty of intrinsic existence. One who knows emptiness is diligent. So one who knows emptiness, as I mentioned at the very beginning, ones who know the true truth on each existence is a diligent, is a wise. You can say smart. Uh, uh, so whenever we uh, we present our own identity, hmm, without naming, you pointing your finger to yourself or presenting your passport, um, yeah, or describing through other factors like say, yeah, I am is this and that because I'm a son of this person, this mother, this father. Whichever way that you want to identify your existence, has to establish this true truth, to be able to establish this true truth, uh, in your wisdom. When you're able to do that, then you're able to establish legitimate person, legitimate existence of self. You, in fact, presenting the real person. Otherwise, the way how we usually identify ourselves, in the teachings of emptiness, we are always identify falsely of ourselves. We always fools the border guards. When you present, because both the guards and yourself, both are fooled in the views of emptiness. Who identify you just looking at the passport, uh, and let you pass the border. In reality, in the view of emptiness, you're fooled. The border guard also fooled. Anyway, uh, and right here, when we meet, I'm Tenzin Zopa here. Actually, both of us are fooled. uh, so can you imagine? So you see. So you see. Um, mm, that the reason is, uh, the both self and the God, whoever is identifying you, um, establish, uh, very much the true existent person, inherent existent person, and that has the element of like forever being you, like me. If I introduce to you me as a Tenzin Zopa, um, you know, in entire whole universe, this is only me. And as the way of knowing me is like I'm forever Tenzin Zopa. And the reality is I'm not forever Tenzin Zopa. But my continuum exists, not only um, uh, beyond this labeling of Tenzin Zopa within this lifetime, but in fact, I do exist from beginningless lifetime, you see. And in my past life, maybe I could be a cute puppy, which don't even have a name, the cute puppy. I hope so. The cute puppy. So then you have to now yourself and the person who's identifying you, you will lose your continuum, Tenzin Zopa's continuum in relation to that cute puppy, and that's false, isn't it? Then the false is huge that we weren't able to trace back our rebirth. That means if we have a huge obstacle to in the understanding in the reality of karmic cause and effect, in the reality of life and rebirth, in the reality of our existence in the universe, and you also have a hard time to establish that potential of our continuum achieving enlightenment. Also, there will be huge blockage. You see, so even within this life, uh, you see, when I was in my mother's womb, Tenzin Zopa did not exist yet. The Tenzin Zopa that I'm introducing to you was not there. Okay. And after I was born, instead of my master or my parent, naming me Tenzin Zopa, if you have named me James Bond, then with the passport of James Bond, I will be passed through the American strict border. You see, but somehow I was named Tenzin Zopa, and now they're passing me, through the border. But why not? That I could have James Bond's name. I could have, any other name, and I would be that. You see, so again, there's nothing wrong that I was using Tenzin Zopa's name, the name the Tenzin Zopa. There's nothing wrong that I'm identifying as a Tenzin Zopa. The problem here, the wrongness is seeing that Tenzin Zopa as a permanent existent, inherent existent, substantial existent, inherently existent. So that's the where everyone is fooled. It makes sense. So again, we may think then what's a big deal, life still goes on. But the thing is, that view is regarded as ignorant, not knowing the truth, and that ignorance is so powerful. It produces, all sort of delusions, all sort of unhelpful and destructive emotions. All the emotion, difficult emotion that we have is in fact is a byproduct of, the very root one is byproduct of not knowing legitimate existence of yourself, the I, the me, not realizing, not realizing. If we have to realize it directly, nakedly, without any fabrication or without any how to say clouded mind of any superstitious mind or conceptual mind, until we realize directly this ignorant, in the word it doesn't sound any harm, but actually that is the real harm that causing to us all the miserable things that comes in our way is because of that. So that's why we need to realize emptiness of self. Uh, all the good things that comes in our way, we really want that to be sustained in us, but unable to because of this ignorance. Because of that, we need to realize emptiness. Because of that, we, even how complicated it sounds or meaningless it sounds, we have to realize it. Whatever called samsara, everything is by product of this ignorance, not knowing or not knowing the real truth about our identity. Again, the real truth about our identity is interdependent existence, and then Zopa is the real truth identity. The emptiness, that the wisdom that which introduce your existence, on the basis of that wisdom, then as long as you carry that wisdom, that ignorance is diminished. You see, so like that. So therefore, so you see, so what like Nagarjuna, the great master, like what they understand, I exist merely in the name, and it's so true, isn't it? Like Tenzin Zopa is just exists merely in name. It does not exist in its substance, in its potential, on the basis of that person, not in physical aggregates, not in mental aggregates. Yeah. If the Tenzin Zopa exists substantially on my basis of the person, on the basis of me, which means the basis are the five aggregates, like a form, mental factor. And when I was in mother's womb, my five aggregates are intact, already established there. My mental continuum is already there. My physical continuum is already there. My feeling, compositional factor, everything is in mother's womb. You see? So that is my base. That's Tenzin Zopa's base. So this Tenzin Zopa that we're going to name later, this title, or including that passport, is not exist in its potential on any of the basis of my continuum in mother's womb. But the way how we apprehend of ourselves as if the potential of this passport is already exist even before I was named Tenzin Zopa. So if you assert that, then we won't able to establish this particular wisdom called I exist in merely name. We won't able to establish that. Or in another word, we won't able to establish I exist but at the same time do not exist. We won't able to establish that empty and emptiness. We won't able to establish emptiness on self. You see. So therefore, Tenzin Zopa, or you can say the nest, Tenzin Zopa exists only because of dependent on being void of intrinsic or substantial existence in any basis of Tenzin Zopa. If there's no void of intrinsic or substantial existence of this name Tenzin Zopa in my aggregates, you won't able to establish legitimate Tenzin Zopa. So actually, Tenzin Zopa is a legitimate person. Now, the another way. I didn't carry false passport. I'm not a ghost. I came into America. uh, I really walk properly on the border, and they look at me, scan me, and look at my passport, and all is real. All is truth. All is relative truth. You see, and that relative truth is truth to your wisdom if you are able to establish it is existing only merely in name. As long as you give a tie with anything else, you won't able to establish legitimate Tenzin Zopa. It makes sense. So here I'm talking about if you leave a tie of this Tenzin Zopa with even single substance, single potential that exists in my body before I was named Tenzin Zopa, then you won't able to establish the emptiness of Tenzin Zopa. If you give a tie of that, there's something that Tenzin Zopa's mental continuum is carrying. That's why he became Tenzin Zopa. If you have that tie, you won't able to establish legitimate truth of Tenzin Zopa. Still, even you call Tenzin Zopa, you recognize Tenzin Zopa, it's all a false. Make little sense? You see? No, you will make big sense, but this poor English make any sense? Any little sense? Okay, so now you just need to take this example, this analogy with, onto you. So maybe this is also one of the exercises that we have to do during our retreat, next weekend retreat. We seriously have to, find the real me And your real me will only able to establish by eliminating the false me. You see, so in short, you have to come to a point that I exist merely in name. You exist merely in name. You know, the Tenzin Zopa legitimately exists, but that exists in nothing more than merely in name, merely in label. You see, merely in label. But that doesn't mean that I have no concrete basis. You see, so in Tibetan Buddhism, some of the earlier tradition, there's also assertion of in order to realize emptiness of self, you also kind of like, it sounds like, maybe not in actual conclusion, but it sounds like you have to annihilate completely in everything, including the base. Because in Lama Tsongkhapa's tradition, he understood that you still need to establish a valid base in order to establish valid identity. So meaning my valid base, the Tenzin Zopa able to name Tenzin Zopa onto me and it become my identity. It has to have a valid base. Otherwise, you will have a false of, if I call you Tenzin Zopa, you also become Tenzin Zopa. Everybody becomes Tenzin Zopa. So there's no uniqueness. There's there's no earning of that title. That means all our passport will be the same. You see, but it is unique and it is established truthfully, that uniqueness, and that has to be identified of having unique base, which is called the valid base, and which is none other than these aggregates. So meaning my form aggregates legitimately exist, my mental aggregates legitimately exist, and that existing also similar identify as in the nature of emptiness, means interdependently existent but do not exist intrinsically. So something like that. Yeah. So. Okay. Then. So now here the Atisha present this. There are many logical ideas to to establish emptiness, to overcome the grasping of intrinsic existence or inherent existence, and establish interdependent existence or legitimate existence of self and phenomena. But here, he used one among many, but there's one. The logical reasoning is called the diamond fragment, the diamond fragment reason. The four cornered, prove that four cornering to prove there's no intrinsic existence, and that way you're able to establish legitimate existence of self. And the verse, it says, a thing is not produced from itself, nor from another, also not from both, nor causelessly either. Thus, it does not exist inherently by way of its own entity. So the first reasoning is, I do not produce from itself, means I do not produce, I do not exist in the time of cause, or I do not produce by the intrinsically existent cause. Then second was no from another. So I do not produce by other cause, or I do not produce by intrinsically existing other potentials, other causes. Second, the number two. Also, not from both. Uh, I am not produced. Tenzin Zopa is not produced by both. Cause, the uh, the intrinsically existing self and intrinsically existing others cause. No causelessly. I do not exist without any cause and condition. Hmm? So because of that, then um, I do not exist intrinsically or inherently. Hmm? so so uh, uh, so it's so that this four cornered diamond fragmented reasoning. So if you to elaborate slightly more, to refute. So you, in order to establish legitimate, existing self, you need to refute this four false assertion of four false way of believing. Many of us, either confused in all of the four, that I could be, not clear. Maybe I could be exist by product of intrinsic self, or I could be already pre-existing by the time of the existence of the intrinsic cause and condition, or I could be produced by some alien cause. Uh, you know, there could be something that I don't know what kind of causes out there. I could be produced by that, and worse, that could be uh, intrinsically existing kind of potential, or even may have this confusion of maybe I could be the product of both, or maybe I could be just pop up causelessly, So, so most of us will carry one of this confusion or grasping, and as long as we carry that, we carry ignorance. And again, as I mentioned before, and this ignorance carry the very powerful potential to lead us into a lot of delusions. And those delusions, like superstitions, all the conceptual mind is product of that, and that lead us to perform, the actions through our body, speech, and mind that which will produce samsara, the karma, like that. So, to support the first point, to overcome, the misunderstanding or ignorance or the grasping of self-produced, or I exist byproduct of, byproduct in the time of the cause, or byproduct of substantial existing cause. So the Nagarjuna, in his fundamental treatise, says, if cause and effect were the same, then the produce and the producer would be the same. So if you think from that point of view, it makes it very easy, isn't it? It's understandable. The 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 apple seed and apple fruit is not the same, isn't it? Everybody knows. So even in our case, our parent and ourselves is not the same, isn't it? We can say we carry the gene, they are product, but because of you are born from them, you cannot say I am same as my parent, isn't it? So that's quite obvious. But there are also people who cannot differentiate, uh, uh, the let's say the apple and the apple seed. And sometimes, even when you try to analyze it, um, how possible the apple, if the potential is not already pre-existing in the seed, how possible apple can be produced? I think many of us would think the same thing. Huh? If apple seed don't carry it is unique potential. How apple possible, isn't it? And but in reality, yes, it carry unique potential. Apple seed has a apple's unique potential. That's why apple seed only produce apple. That's true. But behind that very lightly kind of observation, we carry ignorance, and that ignorance is that potential as if as a substantial potential, as if as intrinsic potential, inherent potential, and that is the problem. The problem is not there in understanding of that apple seed carry special formula or a special substance to produce apple. That's not the problem. That's a real thing. The real problem is the ignorance. And worse than that, we grasp, we have this grasping of, again, in the form of attachment, in the form of aversion uh, uh, towards that. Like, let's say, once you plant the apple seed, if the apple is not produced, you will complain about the apple seed. That's our problem. They say, oh, this seed, is like faulty seed, and this seed, what is this, you have a full of complaint, full of aversion. That's the problem. But this aversion is a product of the product of not understanding the truthful relation between apple and apple seed, the interdependent relationship because of that. You see, so mm, uh, mm, yes, apple seed carry unique potential to produce apple, but there's no inherent potential in apple seed. There's no intrinsic potential in apple seed. Or there's no innate potential in apple seed. Why there's no innate potential in apple seed to produce apple? Because the apple seed itself also dependent on its causes and conditions. Because of that, the apple seed is not exist in its innate potential, or was innate existence. But at the moment we carry that innate ignorance towards the apple seed, as if it's like kind of like a permanent existence of apple potential in apple seed. As is like ultimate potential. So therefore, when the apple is not produced in your expectation, you complain the seed. Because of you have this kind of like a innate ignorance. Like, apple seed means it has to produce the apple that I expect. The taste, the size, the color. You see? And that goes similar with all the rest of the existence. You see, we have this false expectation about our look, about our name, our caste, status, uh, yeah, so many things. We're never satisfied. We always have aversion. That's because we're ignorant. If we are too young, we say I'm too young. Aversion. If we are old, we say I'm old. Aversion. If you are tall, you say, why I'm so tall. When you are tall, you start to see all the small one like so cute. Because of the ignorance, the innate ignorance. You see, when you are short, then you admire all the tall one. You see the tall ones beautiful. You are not. You see, and you are fair. You say, wow, it's too fair. You spend naked so much time on the beach, sunbathing. You want to make tents. Aversion to your true nature, against your nature, not accepting, not accepting the relative truth, not appreciating it because of that ignorance. You see? You see? Then too dark, then again complain. You admire those bright ones. And then you put whatever layer to shine it. You see, so never settle in it is real truth, that is the emptiness of self. You know, uh, you see, the empty of all the partial attitude towards yourself, and just appreciating that nest existed. Just you are being, we are never able to be in the present moment. We're never able to appreciate that you're being, right, that to that awareness is so true to many of us, isn't it? I mean, whole life we stay with complaint. Whole life. When you're in kindergarten, the complaint is, I still need to go up to the first class. What you call first primary, yeah? Then primary, then still complain, you just need to go to secondary. Still complain, then have to go to university. Still complain, they need to get a job. Still complain, need to get a girlfriend. Still complain, need to get a wife. Still complain, they need to get a children. Still complain, want to be a grandparent. It's like, how to say, never-ending complaint. And that all these complaints are because of uh, unable to appreciate the real you. Never able to live in peace in the present time. We very much either live in the past or live tomorrow onward. Today is completely kind of like completely lost because of this innate ignorance. Okay? So you see, when we talk about emptiness, you have to make relevant to our day-to-day life. And that's the whole purpose. You see, so when you realize emptiness, you achieve liberation from all this inconvenience. That's why I say you're diligent, you're a wise one. That's all about it. And ultimately, Buddha's teaching is all about to be able to realize that. There are so many different types of teaching. Even teaching bodhicitta is to realize emptiness. Teaching all sort of other 84,000 teachings, all the methods, including Tantra, is all about arrive to be able to eliminate this ignorance. And this innate ignorance carries so powerful, uh, what do you call the fabricated, so powerful, so powerful it is, how to say, it is so powerful, it is power. So powerful, it is power to manifest the conceptually established ignorance, many layers of ignorance. So that's why it's like grasping. All sort of graspings are byproduct of that ignorance, you see. Mm. Mm. So that's why we need to exercise that. As long as anything is interdependent on cause and condition, everything that need to accumulate, uh, you know, many factors to come together, then we need to come to a sense of bit relaxed. You cannot be like so tight to yourself and so concrete. So just stick on that one idea. We have to be more relaxed. The more the ignorant there, more stress we have, more narrow-minded we become. You see, that we carry the permanent grasping, So that's why in our life, you see, we want something is like has to happen, and if not, we have unhappiness, and all these are permanent grasping. And if we never want any bad things come in our way, uh, and whenever inconvenience come in our way, we feel so suffering. That also because of permanent grasping, you know. But if we have a different view, like all these are different cause and condition. That's why good things also will comes in my way. Bad things also will comes in my way. Good things, which is good, I can even enhance it, collecting cause and condition. Bad things comes in my way, I can purify them by collecting cause and condition, the antidotes. So when bad things comes in my way, I don't have to be so aversion to it. Good thing comes in my way, I don't have to be so excited and attached to it. You know, so we will have a lot of peaceful day-to-day life. You know, the more you think of meditation, think of emptiness, you see, means just interdependent arising. You see, like that. Huh? So when you talk about interdependent arising, you see, the very gross one is dependent on cause and condition. You see, my existence dependent on cause and condition, like my parents, my karma, my continuum of the past. You see, so if anything goes wrong, I cannot blame that one person, me, or my mother, or my father. You know, there are so many factors that already give your mind so much space. You see, like you will not have like a kind of concrete, targeted kind of like aversion if something is not right with you. Say, you know, why me like that? I am responsible of all this crisis in me. And there are so many people, you know, complain of their parent because of you, you know, produce me in this world. Now I suffer, you know, like you have so much aversion, you know. Um, an example. But when you start to think of I'm a product of interdependent cause and condition, then there's so many interdependent cause and condition. You know, you divide that grasping into so many small pieces, and each of them has no weight to cause you pain. So that's the benefit. If you go even more, but that is still gross. So you won't able to kind of like eliminate the entire grasping. But if you want to do that, you have to go slightly deeper level. Now the interdependent arising is like part and particles, which are so subtle. You know, that they are tiny potentials. You know, um, if it's something to do with physical, there's a so micro, you know, physical elements that also may cause you inconvenience, put you into disposition. There could be very subtle mental factors, which are we call the subtle karma, which we cannot detect, which we cannot identify. Maybe those are the reason why am I in this position, which is I really do not want to be in. Rather than like just like blaming yourself, you know, why I'm not good enough, or blaming to your parent, or blaming to the government, or blaming to society, or blaming to weather. You know, your mind of grasping will be like already smashed into very tiny until that, you know, you are quite relaxed. You know, and even go more deeper level, then interdependent on my perception, interdependent on your mind. You know, whatever thing is happening in me is dependent on my perception. And this is so powerful. So that means like that will give you a sense of your life is in your hand. Your life, the way how you want to be is in your hand, not in others' hand. So if I change my mind, if I change my perception, I can change whole world. Make sense? This is extremely important. I think the essence is this. You see? So even understanding emptiness, we have to arrive here. You see? That's why I say mainly labor by mind. This suffering, that this unwanted thing happening in me is labeled by my mind. Meaning it is the image or the dance of my perception, of my mind. You know, it's like what you call this puppet. So whatever situation is happening, whether do with emotion, whether do with the physical level, environmental level, all this reaction is reactions of my perception, my mind. Nothing out there, my perception. So if you want to overcome this problem, you overcome this wrong perception. If you want to enhance this wonderful dance or puppet, you enhance your positive wisdom. You enhance that positive perception. You see, so very much like kind of like you can design your mind um, accordingly with what kind of experience you want to experience in life. You see, so in that level of your progress in your path, your practice, whether you're a spiritual person or not, but as long as you get to this point, then any inconvenience comes in your way, it only becomes a condition to enhance your happiness. Even suffering experience can become a beneficial condition to you. Then no question about pleasurable or good things that happen in your life surely will make you even better. You see, then even death comes in your way. It's no fear. Rather, you have a full of wisdom to take that journey as a journey onto a path. You see, so the all this practice of what do you call the mind transformation, all this practice of um, taking all experience onto a path, very much based on the wisdom of emptiness. Without that, even you practice bodhicitta, it cannot carry the weight. If you practice compassion, it cannot carry the weight. Because attitude is light attitude, but the grasping is still very intact. The ignorance is so intact. So won't able to perform effective compassion work, compassion in action, effective altruism. You won't able to perform. You see, so so like that. Then there's also the Chandrakirti's commentary to the middle way says, there's no advantage in it is arising from self. So okay, if there's some advantage, beneficial thing that by asserting or establishing all the reasons that the self-protection, then okay, go for it. But the thing is, there's no advantage. You see? Okay. So there's no advantage. There's no reason for something which has been produced to be produced again. There's no benefit. If you suppose that something already produced is produced again, then the productions of seedling and such would be found in this world. So you cannot find, examples like that. Therefore, the imputation that things arise from themselves is reasonable neither in terms of reality nor in terms of world. So that is the first one from the four diamond fragmented cornering reasoning to refute the grasping, inherent or substantial grasping. Now the second one, reputations of production from another. So then again, in the Nagarjuna's fundamental trait, it says, if cause and effect were other, then cause and non-cause would be just alike. Then they may come to a point that I'm a child of your parent. It may come to a false until that we may need to accept that, that I'm not a children. Yeah, I'm not a. Uh, I'm a production of other people's karma. I'm a production of other people's continuum. I'm a production of others' parent. So it's very, in fact, when we think about this ignorant, when you want to know exactly how they think, how the ignorant think, it's very childish. Sometimes we think that, wow, ignorant is like so dark, like so bad, and so like you need like a great wisdom to know it. But if you kind of like relaxedly try to know them, it's like very childish, like this. uh, so you see, but then we give a great importance of that childish. That's why ignorance becomes so powerful. You see, but otherwise, wisdom carries is so much weight, isn't it? So then, again, the Chandrakirti's commentary on the middle way says, if things arose in dependent upon what is other, then thick darkness would arise even from a flame. You see, everything would arise from everything. Why? Because in being other, all of non-producer of something would be just like it is producer. Something like that. So now the reputations of production from both self and another. Okay. The Chandrakirti's commentary on the middle way, you will find a lot of the emptiness teachings, and the ideas, how to analyze from Chandrakirti's work, like a commentary on the middle way. Nagarjuna have a 6 different, major texts that which give, all the uh, necessary or the best wisdom, logical wisdom to guide for us to learn about emptiness. So anyway, it says production from both is also unreasonable. Why? Because the uh, fallacy is already explained before it. Production from both together exists neither in terms of the world nor in terms of reality, because individually production from self and from another are not established. So that also very easy, in order to produce a right result, you need to have a right cause. You know, like our parent, we need to have that special gene to trace who is our parent. Without that special gene, is not there, then we can claim anybody's children, isn't it? Uh, so therefore, you need to have a right cause, not by other cause, others' cause. Now, repetition of causeless production, the fourth one. Again, in Chandrakirti's commentary, Midway says, if it were the case that things are produced without any cause, then these worldly beings would not go through hundreds of hardship to collect seeds and search for growing crops. So again, it's so obvious, isn't it? I think all of us, some way, somehow, do gardening. Oh, sorry. So this is also a result of my carelessness, cause of carelessness. Without cause, it won't drop. You see? So, so everything is, by product of cause and condition. Everything. You see? But there's also a great belief in the world within people that, um, is, let's say, I would say, like uh, spontaneous existence. Spontaneous existence. Sometime until that, even we have a parent, but we think that we are so independently existent, spontaneous existence. Therefore, sometimes some people, they have no relation to their parents. They just like completely kind of like all about me. Like everything is just me, my happiness, my life. You know, uh, by my effort. everything is me and mine only. Is at least I'm alive is because of my parent, their contribution. It's because of the society, because of even the supermarket, even because of I eat a lot of rice and wheat flour and potatoes. I exist because of the potato farmers, rice farmers. You see, I exist because of others. But sometimes it's like I exist because of the supreme me, the ultimate me, and come to a point that you really don't care about anybody else. Uh, you know, it's because of that's a kind of like innate ignorance of this self-existent without any interdependent cause and condition, like causelessly existent, like that. So that's we can also can examine that way. Yeah. So again, whenever we analyze deeper into emptiness, that's one of the best way to establish connection with everything, everyone. You see, when we talk about bodhicitta, the one of the most important uh, cause for us to arrive bodhicitta is recognizing all sentient beings as our loved one, our mother. That connection we're able to establish solidly if we have a greater understanding of emptiness. Because when we understand emptiness, we understand interdependent existence, interconnectivity. You see. So again, if you want to uh, relate more about the world system, the nature, the more you dive deeper into emptiness, you will feel like unbelievable connection with nature. Like great um, limitless lifetimes of the connection that has have established. Even with your plant, you will find like so amazingly precious, amazingly uh, beneficial. You will find that interdependent, uh, that existence. It's not just like pop up with causelessly that connection. You see, so there's a great benefit like that. Mm. Okay, I will end soon. Yes, it's my time over. Sorry. Okay, so how to infer that intrinsic production does not exist? How to infer that substantial or inherent production does not exist? How to establish in all these four potentials, false establishment or the false ignorant, the possible of falsely existing, how to overcome that? So Lama Tsongkhapa says that thus by seeing the argument, contradicting the four alternative types of production, you establish that production from these four extremes does not exist. Therefore, you can use this argument to become certain that things do not intrinsically exist. So, for the first time when you hear about this analogy, you may not find not that impacting, you know, to uh, to eliminating the ignorant and enhancing your wisdom. But if you apply that again and again, if you practice it, you really can enjoy uh, becoming clearer and clearer to know yourself better, know you and your relationship with others better, know you and your relationship with all existence will be better. You see, so like that. Okay, so just final thing. Uh, oh. So then verse 50 is, moreover, when all phenomena are examined as to whether they are one or many, they are not seen to exist by way of their own entity, and thus are ascertained as not inherently existent. Mhm. That which arises dependently does not exist autonomously. All of these things lack autonomous existence, therefore they have no self. Uh, so this is what Ayadeva says. Uh, then the Chandrakirti's commentary 400 stanza says, that which has its own essence, intrinsic nature, autonomy, or independent from other is self-existent and thus is not dependent arising. All compounded phenomena are dependent arising, everything. Anything that is dependent arising is not autonomous because autonomous or independent, because it is produced independent upon cause and condition. Cause and condition, cause and effect, part and particles, and dependent on the imputation of the mind. So all this about that. So this thing all lacks autonomy. Uh, Therefore, there's no thing which has self that is intrinsic nature. There's no such thing. Uh, then, uh, again, the Chandrakirti's commentary on the 400 stanza. Therefore, since in this Madhyamika system to be dependent arising is to lack autonomy, lacking autonomy is what emptiness means. Emptiness does not mean that nothing exists. So then Atisha says on the verse 51, the reasoning of these 70 stanzas on emptiness, 70 stanzas by Nagarjuna. Again, one of the texts that, if you like to study, you can read them. The treatise on the middle way, and so forth, explain that the nature of all things established as emptiness. So, such as mentioned, Nagarjuna's, the six collections of reasoning set out the analytical approach to the existence, which are the main root texts that where you can study them. So those of you who want to explore more, look for Arya Deva's text, Chandrakirti's text, Nagarjuna's text. Then, especially, if you don't have all those texts and if you feel a bit too many texts, you just refer to the Lama Tsongkhapa's the Great Lamrim or the Middle Length Lamrim, the Wisdom chapter. There Lama Tsongkhapa already done all the job for us. So he did all the studies, and that those which is not confusing with too many philosophical presentation. We can just directly, so easily can be understand. So usually I would recommend that the best is you refer to the Great Lamrim. In English there's a three translation, three book. It was a three volumes of translation from one volumes of Tibetan text, and on the third volume, a wisdom chapter. The moment you taste it, you will feel yummy. And even those who not really exposed to many Buddhist teaching, but especially to the Westerners, you're already exposed to quantum physics. In young age, you're already exposed to science, and you will find like deeper level of scientific kind of observations about how things exist when you refer to emptiness. So in one way, you don't even have to be Buddhist to learn about emptiness. you know Young and old, everybody, the moment you start to go more detail, you'll feel yummy, like that. Uh, otherwise just one short course or one two teaching, and especially you have to listen from someone like who carry abundance of broken English. Then also going over the time can be add on a lot of stress to you. So you won't find yummy. So don't. I'm not so good example. So yeah, I will ask you to recommend you to read the Lama Tsongkhapa's Lamrim Wisdom chapter. Mm. And you say, oh yeah, I attended Tenzin Zopa's class. It's so boring, but actually it's not. Wow. So then here Lama Atisha says, since there are great many passages, I have not cited them here, but have explained just their conclusion for the purpose of meditation. So, so you see, we're going to do this meditation retreat. Of course, there will be also, uh, um, yeah, will be quite a lot of talking, uh, but without the earlier, basic presentation on emptiness, there's no object to be meditation, no object for meditation. So therefore, you see, even whatever we discussed just now, Lama Atisha said this is for purpose of meditation. So he didn't uh, made it very confusing with too many philosophical views. So you see. So then after that, the two objects of meditation or two ways to meditate on emptiness. One is the meditation on emptiness during the post meditation, and one is to meditate on during the session. In another way, uh, dream or illusional like meditation on emptiness, and another one is the space like meditation on emptiness. Uh, uh, or in another word, there's analytical meditation on emptiness, absorption meditation on emptiness. And these two things, I think we try our best to exercise during coming retreat. Thank you very much. I stop here. Okay. So we just, yeah, dedicate whatever merit we accumulate, for the cause of numberless sentient beings' happiness. Okay. And whatever the way how the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas and gurus, they would dedicate whenever they get opportunity to accumulate merits, we too dedicate just like that. Thank you. Have a good day. Thank you.